Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
FGB has become kind of a rallying cry for Bears fans. What does the F stand for?
Oh man, the F stands for
fans.
I don't know what the letter F stands for.
Am I allowed to say it? Frick Green Bay.
Stands for. I think it's pretty clear.
Fuck Green Bay.
Oh, fuck Green Bay. Fuck Green Bay, man.
Fuck Green Bay.
Fuck Green Bay. Fuck Green Bay.
I love it.
Oh yeah, fuck Green Bay.
I know now. How much is your hatred towards Green Bay? Is this kind of, I'm going to go along, or those guys really bother me?
Yeah, I personally don't like the team up there, to be honest with you. So, I mean.
So fuck them.
Yeah, to be honest, fuck them.
Do you know what the F stands for?
Fuck?
Green Bay. Green Bay. Yeah.
I
don't like it, to be honest. I don't like it, but I know there's a huge rivalry.
And I say happily. Living in Wisconsin, say it happily.
Soulz.
That's right, Bears fans. It's time for Bear Their Souls. I am Steven Zimmerman. We are here for another awesome Wednesday evening where we're going to kick back, enjoy some drinks, enjoy some time here in the bar room with you, all of our lovely listeners, the barflies, the true ride or dies. We've actually got a game to talk about this week. How freaking sweet is that, man? Freaking sweet. Anyway, been rocking way too much Family Guy, guys. I don't know. It's on the brain lately. Fitz, though, you were at a whole other kind of event today, man. Tell us about it real quick.
Yes, I was at Wrigley Field for the Game 3 of the Crosstown Classic Series, Cubs-Sox. Sox came out victorious, 3-0. I was not expecting a shutout from the White Sox pitching at all.
I don't think we've expected that at all this year.
No, but they came through. It was a great environment, lots of fun. Thanks to my buddy Colin. He's Wrigley1332 on Twitter for hooking us up today. It was just no fights that I saw anyways. No fights in the bleachers or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was just a great time.
Yeah, not today.
Not today. It was a beautiful day. As you can see, I got some sun, going here. Hopped in the shower before I got on, and we just had it was a great time, and it all ended with Green Bay sucks chants going out the door. So
love that, man. Love that.
Yeah.
We'll get into more Bears. We'll get into more Sox Cubs later. I got some stories of my own to tell. I'm sure Danikin's got plenty to share. We're still waiting on the Dan man, but he'll be here soon. Never called him that before. I don't know why I just did that. I feel like Will Ferrell right now. Man, I'm just excited to be back. I'm excited to actually talk football. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Everybody saves that song for Christmas. No. It's August. It's when that first preseason game happens. That is the best time of year. And slowly we're turning and cascading into fall. The colors will change and we'll get some nice, beautiful weather here as well. A little cooler. Let us cool off a little bit before. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Just like on this Bears schedule, we don't want to look too far ahead. But Bears wrapped up an awesome game, frankly, on Saturday against the Browns. I'm not sure what they've been doing in Cleveland through this offseason, but it sure doesn't look like practicing football because Jared Verse seemed like about the only guy who was prepared to be on that field. Their offensive line was okay at times, but I don't know, man. It's frustrating. If I was a Cleveland fan, I don't know what I would be excited about for the next several years. Whereas the Bears put a lot out there. Hang on just a moment. I just got an update from Danikin. He may not be joining us tonight, guys. So it might just be the Fitz and Zim show. Okay. Hey, maybe somebody else pops in. We'll see what happens, guys. But best wishes to Danikin. Danikin, if you're not feeling well, like if you are listening, please, health comes first always. So take care of yourself, and we'll do the show the best we can. Definitely won't be the same, but absolutely health is wealth. That's right. So anyway, I've babbled on a lot of. Oh my goodness, I'm babbling on so much I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm tripping over my words here. Fitz, anything stand out to you? Week 1, preseason.
34 points was it?
Yeah,
it was. It's just nice to see the offense looking like it shouldn't take 4 or 5 weeks to get going. I'm just hoping that's not the case, but you just never know with preseason. I was okay with the defense. I think they're going to be all right. I maybe I have too much faith in Dennis Allen, just like game planning things each week for each specific team, but I like it. It could be better, and I think it will get better, but you got a lot of points on offense, which is great. I hope Monungai is not out that long because we're going to need him. But it was good to see Roshan Johnson get some carries. He looked like that's like we need depth at running back. You always need depth. You need depth everywhere. So it's good to maybe he can just have a breakout year that he's just never had with us.
Well, and Salvan Ahmed did a great job in his position as well, which, I mean, given the fact that he is a veteran guy and he's seen the NFL before, he should be beating up on fourth stringers. But it's encouraging when you see a guy who should be beating up on fourth stringers actually beat up on fourth stringers. Because how many have we seen it in the past as Bears fans where, we've got these guys up against guys they should clearly dominate and they're still struggling. So, it's a really nice thing to see the Bears doing what they're supposed to be doing at this time of year. Like you said, like, it's not going to take 3-4 weeks to get this thing rolling. Like they're actually kind of there. Did you have any particular players that stood out to you? Any guys, either stood out for good reasons or bad, honestly?
Like I said, Roshan, I was really happy just to see him. What is it? Dave Wanstead says about running backs get lathered up. That's his thing, they kept giving it to him, and it was good to see that going. I guess I was excited to see Kieran Abagaji get some reps out there, but it didn't. I don't know if he, pushed the needle to say he won the job or anything like that.
I don't know if he pushed the needle at all. It sounds like based on the last couple of practices, he might have actually moved down the roster.
Yeah, but it was good to see him just get some plays. Know what we've got. Excuse me. Voice is a little sore today.
No, it's okay. You're out there hooting and hollering. If I got to carry it, I got to carry it. I totally understand.
No, we can do this.
Chat. Hey, we always appreciate having the chat room involved. Excuse me. And I'm just going to pull it up here so you guys can be right on screen with us because frankly, it seems like a great way to roll it tonight. That's going to be a way to do it. We can also run it like this. There we go. That's a little more evened out. Give me just a sec, guys. Sorry, I'm one-handed right now. I was responding to Danikin, trying to let him know, feel better. Don't worry as much about us because, hey, we got the chat room here to keep us company, right? I did make some notes on a few guys. Let me just respond to Danikin. I apologize for doing this on air, but I really want him to know that he does not need to join us if he is not feeling well.
Yeah. Cliff brought up a point there. Yeah, Amagaji and Willis were both moved to right tackle. So
yes. Yeah, I did see that. Amagaji and Willis both moved to right tackle with the return of Ozzie Trapillo.
Yeah.
as well as Braxton Jones, both coming back from injury, one much sooner than the other. We'll get into that a little more later. Definitely something I do want to touch on. But I actually was watching this game. Now, granted, I have not watched even a highlight from this game since it happened. I was kind of saving that for after this show because I wanted to give you like my raw, true impressions on this. I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players that I thought looked really good. Guys that really impressed me just watching the game live in real time, that I was like, oh, that was a really good play. Let me watch this guy for a couple more. And then I watch him for a few more plays. And if he continued to impress, I wrote his name down. And I only had 4 players on the negative side of this as well, which honestly is a good thing, I think, because I think that means that more players are just doing their jobs. You know, they're not impressing, but they're also not showing you anything that says get him off this roster right now. And I'll say I only saw one guy that I was like, you could cut him today and it'd be cool. And that was Kadir Ismail. Tight end number. Yeah, exactly.
Can't even remember. Yeah.
Tight end number 80. He came in for like 3 plays at the end of the game, and he had like a false start, or maybe it was a holding call. He had a penalty though, and then immediately blew a block and then like dropped a pass. Like it was like the worst 3. It was a really bad. And look, like everybody's going to have, you know, their ups and downs, but like, again, when you do that on the big stage, like I'm not the only one who noticed. I guarantee that. Granted, I don't know what his assignments are. I don't know what he's working on. I just know what I saw watching the game. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the good, I want to give you my next 3 negatives. The more controversial one, I'll get it out of the way now. Number 17, Tyson Bagent. I didn't think he really had as good of a game as I wanted to see from him. And that's not to say he had a bad game. I really wanted to see him kind of go off the way we've seen him do in previous preseason games, especially against a terrible team like the Browns. And it just seems like he's plateaued since last year. Again, we don't know what the jobs were. We don't know what the assignments were. We don't know a whole lot about anything. We do know that he came down with a quad injury after the game. So that is something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I wanted to see more. That's all. And maybe it's my own fault for having higher expectations.
No, I think because I agree with you. He wasn't as impressive as we've been made to believe he really is, I guess. I think there's a lot of just not that it's almost like legend around him because there's not much to go off of. You know, he's played how many games in his 4-year career? Not many. He really hasn't been out there that much because Caleb, he doesn't get hurt. He's, you know, knock on wood, but, you know, he's been very healthy. And I think that has led us to maybe build him up to this point that he maybe just really isn't, you know. I think the organization has done that as well, as maybe trying to lure some valuable players in like a possible trade for him and things like that. But I just think it's almost I hate saying it because I like the guy. I'm glad he's on the team, but I don't. It just I think we've just built up this character of who he is and who we want him to be, and he looked like a normal quarterback out there, and it was a little disappointing, I guess.
And while I agree with you to an extent, I will tell you one of the guys on my good list was number 11, Case Keenum. Now, granted, he's like a 10-year vet at this point, beating up on 3rd and 4th stringers. He better look good.
Yeah.
But again, it's nice to see a guy who should be beating up on backups, beating up on the backups. And it kind of made me think like maybe they should switch around next week. Maybe we should give Miller Moss some more snaps because clearly Case doesn't really seem like he needs him. Miller Moss was a total. I really wanted to see something out of him. Just, you know, a nice little Cinderella story being Caleb's backup at USC, but I had no notes, positive or negative about him. He was just out there taking snaps. He's a scout team quarterback. And, you know, I guess that's just what he is. My last 2 negatives, number 45, Bo Gardner, our new long snapper. I shouldn't say he had a bad game, but that first field goal that Cairo Santos missed was because of a bad snap.
It was, yeah.
So I wrote down his name because you should never notice a bad snap. That's all there is to it. Like, your job is to do one thing and one thing only. Cairo's job is to make kicks. So yeah, everybody noticed that he didn't make the kick. Well, Bo's job is to make good snaps, and he didn't make a good snap, which is, why everybody noticed Cairo not do his job as well. So, it's a little thing, but I just want to see it cleaned up. He's a big guy.
Little. Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
He won a competition for that job.
Yeah.
For him to come out on the very first time and blow it like that. Yeah.
Now, I will also say, first snap ever on a pro field for him. So I think you're allowed to have some nerves. And frankly, he shook it off. Didn't have another bad snap the rest of the game because I was watching him like a freaking hawk after that first one. So I put him on the bad list simply because of a bad snap. Clearly, the Bears aren't worried about it. They didn't bring in any more. Cliff could have been 37 points, would have let down. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and I get that. Like, I'm really nitpicking at this, but again, long snappers are brought in to long snap. The last bad one I had was Kyle Hergel, number 60. He's like a third or fourth string guard. Probably not a guy who's making the team, if I'm being completely real. But it was interesting because the guy opposite of him, Wesley French, number 68, I was watching these two guys swap back and forth from left guard to right guard. And every single time 68 was winning his battles and 60 was losing his. And then they'd switch and 68 would continue to win on the opposite side and 60 would lose on the opposite side. And when you're looking at like backup linemen, I mean, all I'm really looking for is, are you not getting bull rushed? Are you creating a clean pocket? Are you preventing any sort of interior pressure? And, I saw what I wanted to see out of 68 and did not see what I wanted to see out of 60 in that. And again, these guys are like fringe roster guys. So there's a real possibility that I'm sitting here nitpicking guys who won't even make the team. But that's what I love about preseason. Like some people get fired up about the draft for the same reason. I get fired up about the preseason because I want to know who those last 6 guys on the roster are. I care who is suiting up on game day and who's, being scratched in the sense of like, is this actually a depth guy or is this just a roster filler? Because the Bears are getting to a point where they don't have roster fillers anymore. Every single guy on their roster serves a purpose. Whereas I think there are some other teams in the NFL, i.e. the one they just played, where some of these guys are just on the team because they have to fill out a 53-man roster.
It looked like the quarterbacks were like that too.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah. Right. I'm glad we're over that, but whatever they got going on in Cleveland at quarterback right now, just keep it there.
It's brutal. Hey, I saw a sweet highlight from Deshaun Watson dropping a huge 60-yard pass in practice this week after the game. So maybe he's coming around. Granted, the guy should probably allegedly be in prison, but that part is what it is.
Right.
Handful of other guys that I saw that I'm just going to highlight real quick. Beanie Bishop obviously had 3 passes defense, 2 interceptions. Big game for him. Gives him a great opportunity, especially being signed off the street the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interception sure might have been right place, right time. But you have to do something right to be in the right place at the right time. So I give him that one. Malik Mahabin, number 24, 5th-round pick for the Bears. Looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Or was he a 3rd-round pick? I don't remember. Sorry, he was a draft pick, but played nasty up by the line of scrimmage. I actually really liked seeing that out of him, especially considering he's never played the slot before.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then the last, more obvious one, I think, is Caden Davis. Caden Davis had a great game at wide receiver. He did have one really nasty drop. And in my opinion, I saw a lot of body catches, and I saw him, and I saw this from a lot of the Bears, backup receivers and tight ends. He was jumping a lot to catch the ball when I felt like he didn't really need to do that.
Now that you say that, yeah.
I felt like I saw that a lot from some of these backups. So I want to watch that as the season goes on, because that's weird. Now the guys in the chat have the guy that I kind of picked as my sleeper, and then he went out and got his second sack of the game, and all of a sudden drew a ton more attention to himself. That's Jamari Chroma. That guy was living in the backfield. Every single snap, I'm sitting there. I mean, it was probably about halfway through the second. I'm like, who is this 59? He is in the backfield on every play. He looks, you know who he looked like? He looked like Shea McClellan because he was one step behind the play on everything. The difference is this guy's not a first-round pick. You know, being one step behind when you're a third-year guy who I believe was undrafted, that shows improvement. That shows that you're getting where you need to go. Being one step behind as a third-year player as a first-round pick, that tells me that you're a bust. Big difference. So, I really like Jamari Chroma. He showed a lot. I think he showed enough to earn some snaps with, higher rotation. But we'll get to why that might not happen later. And the last guy that I had noted was Ruben Hippolyte. Ruben Hippolyte caught a lot of shit from Bears fans last year. Maybe deservedly so. But frankly, I think a lot of it's the fact that he's a fourth-round pick and nobody knew who he was. And this guy caught so much shit for it. And he played really well, actually. Yeah. He was constantly around the ball. He stuck to his assignments. He filled his gaps. This guy's a legitimate backup and special teamer on this linebacking unit that might need him this year. So seeing him and Sanborn playing next to each other, honestly, looked so natural. This might be our Urlacher-Briggs combo. I don't want to go too far, but
yes, just don't go any further. It's like is it Marshall and Singletary?
No, I really liked what I saw out of him. It looks like he's developing well. He's bought into the system, and he's playing his ass off. So
you said something there, bought into the system. That it seems like everybody in that room has bought into this system for that Ben and the coaching staff has brought in, and I think that's extremely important. It takes a guy with maybe average ability, makes him that much better if he just understands the assignment, agrees with the assignment, is locked in on the assignment. And so that's a huge thing that I think that the Bears have going for them right now. Yeah, absolutely, man. It was awesome. Some other guys that I saw getting a lot of love around the internet was Devin Bush. Devin Bush got a lot of praise from Bears fans. A guy that people weren't so hot on was Josh Blackwell, which I will agree is kind of surprising. So, yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave as much of that there as we can. We already mentioned that the left tackle competition seems to be simmering down, but that's because some really cool stuff is heating up. Stick around to hear our thoughts on that one. I'm going to get around to that one a little later. I still want to talk a little bit more about this game now that we've highlighted some of the players. Look, I want to get this chat's mind thinking. I want to see you guys active in there. The more you guys talk about what we got to talk about, the more you give us fuel to keep going. But now that we've talked about the players who stood out, how about some of the coaches that stood out? How about Al Harris? Al Harris calling plays for the second half of this game.
It's wonderful. It was great.
Did a great job, man. It was awesome to see. Sorry, I pulled up a little image for him because he deserves a little highlight, a little love. Looks great. No, that wasn't Al Harris. It was Antoine Randall.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to praise Al Harris for the work he's done with the DBs, and I'm getting him mixed up with a different topic altogether that I had. Guys, my apologies for being crazy. I'm just working too fast. Wide receivers coach, assistant head coach, Antoine Randall called plays in the second half of that game, did a really great job, got a lot of praise from both the fans and from Coach Johnson. Believe he met with the media. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips from that because it was basically just him talking his way through it. I think we all saw a lot of what we saw. Did you see anything that you really liked, Fitz?
Well, yeah. Well, I go back to it. I love the 34 points. And what was it? Was it 10-10 at halftime? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got 24 points in the second half with your wide receivers coach, right? So that says something. You score 24 points. I don't care if it's a preseason game or what. You're doing something right there. And so I love the idea. I loved the approach. The Ben Johnson tree is going to be a Ben Johnson garden, I think, by the time this is all done. It's going to be a Ben Johnson forest. There's going to be so many people by the time Ben Johnson's done coaching in this league that that are going to come, that are going to fall off of his tree. It's going to be a forest. Just so many people. You've already got last year's OC out in Baltimore now. It seems like he's doing a good job. They love him out there.
They're praising him left and right out there. They really like him. Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of it's these own, Antoine Randall, it's a lot just him. I'm not saying this is all Ben Johnson, but if you've got a guy like Ben who knows how to get it done, he just adds to whatever talent you already have. So,
yeah. Apologies to anybody watching. I'm just trying to get our images. I was a little more prepared for 3 or 4 of us tonight with our imagery. That's all, but we power through. We make it work. Hey, man. I mean, if I had to do it solo, I'd have done it solo. I know. Hey, I know you guys love doing this, though. I know you don't miss it for any reason other than the best ones. So there is no worries anywhere around that. So, yeah, continuing on with our preseason discussion, upcoming joint practices the next couple of weeks. That's right. The next 2 weeks, they've got some joint practices going on with both the Bengals, correct? Yeah, the Bengals and not the Commanders, the Titans. My goodness.
Commanders, can you imagine that?
That would actually be awesome. Probably only 4 joint practices out of respect, though.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so not a whole lot crazy stuff happening there. Anything that you're kind of looking at over these next couple of weeks, especially with the joint practices, any predictions, anything that you're looking at in the next couple of games or during these practices in particular?
Well, I mean, obviously stay healthy. We can't afford to lose anybody else. I want to hear about the defensive line more. We don't really talk about them. So that means is not what's really going on there. I would like to, Grady Jarrett's hurting our players. It's like he's forgetting that they're not in pads. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But
well, a big addition to this defensive line is actually coming right now with Marcus Davenport being signed formally from the Lions. Did some time with DA in New Orleans. I kept wanting to say St. Louis because they're the Saints. St. Louis hasn't had a team in a decade?
Been a while. It's been a while.
But yeah, Marcus Davenport, drafted by the Saints, spent some time down there with Dennis Allen, played the last few seasons with the Vikings and the Lions. Lots of injury trouble for him, but potentially bolstering that defensive line. He's a guy I'm definitely keeping an eye on over these next couple of weeks, both in practice and in the games. And I'll be curious to see how much time the starters get in these games as well.
Yeah.
Because these joint practices, I think, are just as good as games, especially when it comes to the live sessions and the hits and the tackling. And, last season they had these joint practices with Miami. And coming out of that, Miami was so upset about how hard the Bears played. And in reality, it was more that Miami was really soft. And we saw that. Right. We saw that as the season went on. Yeah. And we've now heard that as this year's training camp has begun down in Miami, that they aren't ready for basically NFL football, it seems like. So that's where these joint practices really come in handy, where you get a little more insight into the teams around the league. And, you actually get to kind of hit somebody like you mean it too. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Grady Jarrett. I guess you're hitting everybody like you mean it.
It's like they've replaced what training camp used to be, where it was 2-a-days and you'd have fights regularly. And I think they don't have that as much amongst your own team anymore. And I think they've replaced it with these joint practices, because that's where sometimes you get the fights and the shoving going on. So I like the concept. I like players seem to like it too. Just seeing some new blood out there to go after.
Yeah.
But
Xavier Woods was spotted out at practice with pads back on, so they're fighting back from some of these injuries as well. And speaking of something we're looking forward to over the next few weeks, as well as this injury bug, Ozzy Trapillo has returned from injury significantly sooner than I think anybody anticipated. I don't think I have an image of the big man, but the Bears
an image of the Pope.
really, it seems like they might have their left tackle back.
That's amazing. I kind of put him out of my mind for the whole year, really thinking just if we get him back, it would be close to the playoffs, because they always say these things can take up to a year. But our guy, Mr. Gabriel, was saying all the time that these guys can come back sooner than they used to.
Yeah,
and appears to be right. But yeah, and if he can be what he was those last 6 games into the playoffs, it's going to be huge for the running game. Yeah.
It's a testament to, these medical procedures, as well as, just the access to the facilities and the trainers that these guys have as well.
Yeah.
They're overcoming things that, we never saw coming before. Somebody else just came back from an Achilles injury. That I can't remember who it was. It was somebody on a different team, but somebody came back from an Achilles injury way sooner than expected as well. And you got Pat Mahomes in Kansas City coming back from an ACL, 7 months later. It's amazing.
Even Aaron Rodgers, when he came back from his.
That's true, especially given his age. Granted, he's still in his 30s. It wasn't that insane, but for a football player, that's getting up there.
Yeah. But if you watch that documentary on Netflix about him, he was trying to come back before that season ended.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never even knew that.
Yeah, he was really trying. It was really fascinating to see. There was arguments between him and the doctors. I can play. No, you can't. And just the back and forth. And if you get a chance, that's still on. I think it's a Netflix exclusive. It's one of the Netflix exclusive documentaries. That's where I saw it. Just on Aaron Rodgers. You'll hate it because it kind of humanizes him for you.
I would never watch it. No.
Yeah, it's very good, but yeah, that was one of the things they talked about, just the way players are, they take care of their bodies, so when they get injured, they recover better, and then the science and technology is there that they help them recover better as well.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I've never really considered it, before the last couple of years, the way that these things are changing and evolving. But it's funny the way that, life does this, because, the job that I'm currently in, I'm looking at injuries and recovery times all day long. And I'm starting to learn more about, as I've mentioned on this show before, I'm fascinated by sports injuries, and I've learned a lot about them just by observing them, learning about them, trying to educate myself over the years, and now having the background side of it as well. I'm starting to learn how they're actually coming back from these things a little better too, and see the insights on it and how it actually happens. And it's so interesting, and the way that medicine truly is evolving right before our eyes, and how they can make these advances in what seems like an impossible timeline. And now we've got a guy like Ozzy Trapillo, who's, a 300+ pound man, able to repair a patellar tendon, something that as recently as 20 years ago could have been career ending for somebody. Mm-hmm. As recently as 10 years ago, kept Danny Trevathan sidelined for an entire year.
Yeah. Well, think about, Tommy John, who just passed away.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you have to get Tommy John surgery to be a pitcher in the MLB now. Right. And it doesn't affect you anymore. You come back and it's like you never lost a beat. You never lost a mile off your fastball. It's amazing. Yeah. It's incredible. So, yeah, well, unfortunately, on the other side of that, we got some other guys who can't seem to bounce back from injury. Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen were both asked about Kyler Gordon this week, and here's what they had to say.
And can you provide any more update on Kyler Gordon? We've pretty much gotten a non-update.
Yeah, there's nothing to add right now. Yep.
Do you have any interaction with him or see?
Yeah, I see him in the building. Yep.
Do you feel like he is progressing?
Yep, there's a plan, and he's working towards that plan.
What does he do right now?
he's rehabbing.
I just know he's going through the rehab process. Really, quite honestly, I haven't. That's something that I can't really put a lot of thought into right now. I've got to focus on the guys that we have. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get him back sooner rather than later, and yet that's not anything that I control. So my pure focus has been on the guys that are out there and what we're doing with those guys.
Outside of his rehab process, what has his role been in the offices and meetings? Are you
all the meetings? He's involved in everything that we're doing from a meeting process standpoint, but has not been involved in anything physically with the team.
That was
I
interesting.
hear a lot of people saying negative things about this, and maybe it's just me, but I'm not getting that vibe at all. The vibe that I'm getting from Ben Johnson is he's tired of answering questions about it.
Yeah.
He is sick of walking into that room every day and going, Jesus Christ, they're going to ask me about Kyler Gordon. I'm going to tell him the same thing I told him yesterday. It's like pounding my head into a fucking brick wall day after day. Why do they keep asking me about it? And from Dennis Allen, it seemed more like, he gave the blanket coach say nothing answer.
Yeah, I think I get the same thing from Ben. He's frustrated. I'm sure he's frustrated that he's not playing. Everybody's frustrated, but I think he's frustrated from answering the same question all the time. The thing I was thinking about recently, this was even not. I got my cat get down here, but I remember back to when Barry Bonds was going through the home run chase, and he had Pedro Gomez was like at every game, and he would always somehow ask a question about steroids.
Yeah.
He just got over it. Yeah, I think it's just the human part of Ben is just he's just frustrated, and we know what type of person he is. It's like that question, what was the one last week? And he just went, no, I'm good. And,
Really?
And that was his answer. Like, that's just Ben. And, Dennis Allen will give – it's like he's trying to give a better answer than what that he can. He's looking for something else to say, make it sound a little better, but he's like reaching into a jar and there's nothing there. It's just he's got nothing left to say. He's just a little handles it differently than Ben. It's kind of interesting. I like the back to back there that you had there.
I agree. Yeah, it's fun listening to them both back and forth. It reminds me of mom and dad. When you ask them a question,
That's a good one.
And especially like the little kids. And it doesn't matter which parent's which in this situation, but one parent always ends up getting short, and the other one always ends up being more patient. And depending on your household, your situation may vary. But my point being that nothing gets more irritating than a little kid asking you the same question over and over and over again. Can I have a piece of candy? No. You just brushed your teeth. Well, can I have a piece of candy in 5 minutes? No. You will still have just brushed your teeth. Okay, well, can I have a piece of candy after I do my homework? And no, you may not have candy. And then, an hour later they come up to you and they say, hey, so that candy, can I have that piece of candy now? And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Perfect example.
That's what it reminds me of so much.
And the reporters have to ask it. They've probably been told by their editor, you need to ask this,
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I feel like if there was an update, like we'd probably just know about it. Like with Ozzy, nobody really asked, too many leading questions about it. Hogan Johns asked a very, blanket, what's your left tackle situation looking like? And Ryan Poles brought up Ozzy Trippill, like working him back in. And it's like, oh shit.
It was completely out of left field. With
That's it. If there's something to say, they'll tell us. It's frustrating, especially with the modern NFL. Like we talk about the ownership of the Bears not getting with the times. I feel like the reporting on the Bears is not getting with the times sometimes. Other times I feel like, I don't know about that, but
something I heard about them bringing Trapillo back at this point is it gives them a chance to see where they're at. And then if they need to put him on like the IL for like the first 4 weeks of the season, they can do that. It's like, as opposed to
still do that.
Just bringing him back when the season starts, they can kind of see what they got and You know, if he's not ready, that's fine. We'll, you know, set him down for 4 weeks.
That's it. And, you know, I'm going to look it up right now. Forgive my typing, but I haven't seen anything about him taking live snaps or anything.
No.
I've seen him working on individual drills.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him doing things, you know, on the sidelines, again, during those individual periods and everything. But I haven't seen anything about him taking, again, live snaps during practice or anything like that, lining up with the offensive line and being that true left tackle. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of develops too, because obviously they're going to work him back slow. They're going to make sure that his body's ready for it. So it kind of seems like it's a one-man show at left tackle for now with Braxton Jones. And then Theo Benedette working as swing tackle, obviously. And I think that's where they like Theo. I think they like him as their swing tackle, sixth offensive lineman, you know, that, you know, don't be surprised if he lines up as a tight end, if he lines up as a fullback kind of guy, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Is that a crazy take to line up?
Not with Ben Johnson.
That's kind of it. I feel like I feel like he did it last year, honestly. So,
Yeah, Theo, he didn't play bad last. I wouldn't say he was a bad left when he played left tackle, but yeah, I don't think I want to go into week 1 saying he's our left tackle either. So
yeah, I get that. You definitely you want a little more security behind everything.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see again how these next few practices play out, because I mean, these practices, if he takes live snaps against another team, like, you know, he's ready to go. So that's something I'm definitely keeping an eye on over the next few weeks. Yeah. I mean, live contact versus, I mean, against the Bengals, you're not really seeing anybody against who else did they have? Titans.
Tennessee. Yeah.
You're going to see some action against Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it'll be a story worth watching still. So, well, you got anything else to touch on barring or about preseason at this point, you know, whether it be the future, the past, the present, anything like that?
No, I'm just bummed I didn't. I got rained out last Thursday.
Yeah,
when we went up there. Looks like I guess Aldo was at the parking lot there, asking questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the Podfather, still heading out that direction, making some content for us to share with y'all. Super awesome to see. Love the stuff that he puts together for us. You know, he puts together a lot of these graphics and everything for us as well. So you guys show Aldo some love. Just because he's not with us every week doesn't mean he's not doing a whole lot of work for us. Absolutely massive shout out to him for all of that.
And I think we're going to get together for lunch in September. So
awesome.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's funny. I tried to go to 2 different preseason training camp. You know, I tried to get tickets for one date. Talk to you about going to the other one with you. It didn't work out either time. And then both dates wound up getting rained out. And I feel like it's, you know, God or the universe or whatever you want to say, you know, it's my way of being told, like, it's okay, buddy. You can sit this one out this year. It'll be okay.
He's saying that a lot though this year, because there've been a lot of rainouts.
That's true.
There's been so much water, and oh gosh, we need saw somewhere on Twitter where someone mentioned that Chicago needs a redo on the summer, and I totally agree with that. There's just been so much rain this year.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I got one last little bit of interview that I'm going to throw out here, and we'll head on to the rivalry report after this one. But this is Romo Dunze on his expectations for this season and for himself, you know, through the coming weeks and through the coming year.
Romo, you had one of the highest yards per catch in the league last season. What are you looking to add to your game or refine? What's your next step?
And wide receiver play in general, I honestly just want to fine tune every single one of those things. Obviously, we want to be better at the catch point this year, make a lot more contested catches, you know, make some tough catches over the middle, as well as route running. I feel like, you know, my route running is up there, but I have a few, you know, nicks and knacks that I can clear up and make even better. Yards after catch, you know, run after catch is definitely something I'm looking to improve on as well. You know, I'm watching Luther's tape, looking at how he's making defenders miss, trying to do some of that as well as Swift. So all around, I feel like I can improve and just, you know, be one of the best in the league.
absolutely love his mindset. He sees the weaknesses in his game. He wants to improve them. And he's looking to the guys in the locker room with him that can help him with it. Like, that is exactly what I want to see out of a young player, out of a potential leader on this team, out of a guy who really the fan base wants to see a lot from, and he feels the pressure and wants to answer it.
Yeah, there's a lot of attention on Luther Burden, and there should be. Ben's put the attention on him. Don't forget about Rome. I really think he's going to have a big year this year if he stays healthy. Everyone says he looks great at camp. That the injury, don't worry about that. He's healed. He's fine, and he could be that replacement for DJ Moore, that guy that just gets the tough catches. Luther's going to do some spectacular things, but Rome's going to be that just reliable guy, and I think he's going to rack up a lot of receptions and yards. He was on his way last year. He just
absolutely.
So if you looked at that graphic between 2024 and 2025, he had better numbers in 25, and he played 5 less games.
Yep.
So he's improving. He's getting better, and I think people might just be sleeping on him because of all the attention that Luther Burden is getting. So,
yeah, man, I love it. I'm really looking forward to it. That clip alone, has made me really want to see the starters in the preseason at least a little bit.
I know.
It's just a couple series. That's all I want. If I have to wait all the way until week 1 to see these guys hit the field, like I am going to be freaking going crazy. I'm going to be like that dog that's been locked in the house all day and the owner's been gone for 15 hours. And you're like, I just want to go out. I just want to go out. That's going to be me, man. Man.
But, the question was posed last week, like, are you okay with Caleb not playing? And for the first time in my life, I'm okay with a quarterback not playing in the preseason. It from a fan standpoint, I want to see it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm okay. I think he's good. Ben thinks he's good. Keep him healthy. Let's be ready for week 1. And I've never felt that way about a quarterback on the Bears.
Man, I hope I saved it because I saw something, in the past week about, something similar to that with, man, I didn't save it, but it was something along the lines of, year 3 with Mitch, we're hearing, he's still got some work to do. He's figuring it out. He's not quite where we want him to be, but we got him on the right track. And then year 3 with Justin, you're kind of hearing more of the same, a lot of like, he's doing this well. We still want to see this, so on and so forth. And now we're hearing year 3 from Caleb, from Ben, who has a reputation of being a total hard ass about his team. We're hearing, he's right where he's supposed to be. He's doing what he needs to do. He's making the leaps that we expect him to make. I think you guys are going to like what you see.
Yeah, we're not used to this. We just aren't. I always think back to, I listened to the score, and Brad Biggs, I think he's a Tribune writer for the Bears. He's always talked about 7-on-7s and the struggles that Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky both had doing 7-on-7s. And that's why he could never be positive about those two. But like last year or this year with the 7-on-7s, Caleb, we saw the highlights. Caleb was tearing them up.
Yeah.
We're just not used to having this level of quarterback play, and it's going to take some getting used to. And I like it. So
absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, hey, just a few last couple of notes that I have here. Austin Booker. This is from Adam Johns himself. Austin Booker is 100% above Dayo Odangbo on the depth chart at this point in time. Do not look at their unofficial depth chart. Look at the guys that are out there playing. Speaking of year 3 jumps, maybe he's the guy who's making one right now.
I'm expecting it personally. That's I've said a lot about just trusting the guys we have on the defensive line right now. I was not big on making any big moves. So I'm really hoping he kind of makes me look right on that. But yeah, I'm expecting Austin Booker to. I would say my hope is by the end of the year, we're talking Austin Booker over Montez Sweat.
I think it's possible, but I don't know. That's a long shot.
Going okay because Sweat
is that going to be our hot take for this week? Do I need to clip that? That's our
sure. Yeah. By the end of the season, Austin Booker, we will say that Austin Booker is the better than Montez Sweat. He is the he's the man on the defensive edge.
That's 2 Montez Sweat hot takes on this show this season already. And clip it, take it to the bank, do what you will with it. Fitz has said it.
And that's not a knock on Montez Sweat. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad year or anything, but he's starting to get older. We've had this is a 4th season with the Bears now.
Sweat 3rd or 4th, yeah.
Yeah, and we want somebody to take his place at this point. We want somebody there that's not good. That's going to be what he's done for us. So I think it's going to be Austin Booker. And I'm not saying that Montez Sweat's going to have a bad year either. I'm just saying that Booker's going to be the guy by the end of the year. He's my pick to click for the whole season.
Totally fair, man. Also along the defensive line, just a fun little note, Jordan Vandenberg, I don't know who this is graded by, had an 83.3 pass rush grade with 3 pressures on just 15 pass rush snaps. I didn't notice, but I also
was this for the game?
Wasn't paying too close of attention. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Ruben Hippolyte did leave with a shoulder injury, even though he did have that nice performance, which is a little rough. And you know what? As long as we've got a few minutes here, something that I wanted to bring up is something that I saw going around, which is the price of the Bears defense at this point in time.
Oh,
the Bears currently have the 3rd highest payroll on defense in the league right now.
Yeah, don't
which
tell
is
me
insane.
They're not spending money. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is.
It's crazy to think about. But then, big shout out. Let me find it. Bearweather fans at Bearweather fans on X, site formerly known as Twitter. They threw out this little blurb to summarize, or to read, I guess. Caleb's surplus value. You can happily swing the contracts of Khalil Mack, Jadeveon Clowney, or Chase Young combined. Actually, not or, and. You could swing all 3 of them and have enough to pay Kobe Bryant and him not even play. That's because they're saving that much money on Caleb's contract right now. So this comes from an article that they put together, to preface this a little bit, about surplus value added by having players on rookie contracts. And effectively what it's saying is the Bears have so much added value on their roster right now with these rookies and additional players on offense, i.e. Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, talented young players still on their rookie deals. You can afford to overspend on defense. So yes, we are frustrated about the way that it's been spent on defense right now, but they are in a perfectly okay and fine position because of that. So if you're looking at this graphic, you can see that blue is their actual cost. Orange is the surplus value of these players for Darnell Wright, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, and Caleb Williams. When you add it all together, you come up to about $130 million in surplus value from the offense. And I'm sorry, what was that number we just said about the Bears on defense? $177 million. Crazy how that kind of levels out real quick when you start looking at that. So just something to consider when you look at these numbers is, numbers don't tell the whole story as much as a show on ESPN from 20 years ago might want to tell you. They can always be skewed to tell you whatever they want. And this is 2 examples of that happening right here.
Yeah, it's not that the Bears haven't spent money on defense. I know a lot of people like it sometimes appears that way. It's like, because we're not going after the big names, but the money's been spent. It just hasn't, come to fruition the way it's that happens.
Mhm.
I thought a lot of I think the only move that, the Dio Dengbo signing, 3 years, that's the one that everybody kind of gets to because he hasn't hardly played.
Mhm.
But as our guy Danikin always brings up, that's the going rate for guys like that. It is what it is, and it just hasn't panned out. And it just seems all of the defensive moves, it's been like the complete opposite of the offensive side.
Unfortunately, yeah. Now, I do think they really hit it out of the park with the Kobe Bryant and Devin Bush signings. Unfortunately, Bryant got hurt.
Right.
That's not his fault, though. That's nobody's
it's
fault. That's
not.
not Ryan Pohl's fault. That's not Kobe Bryant's fault. That just is the game that these guys play. It doesn't mean that it wasn't an outstanding acquisition, and it doesn't mean that he's not going to be a contributor for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He will be back for the Bears Super Bowl, one way or another, whether it's because that's his first game back of the season or whether it's because he helped them make a playoff run. When the Bears play on February 14th of 2027, Kobe Bryant will be on that field.
Yes,
you can book that now. There's your real hot take. Clip that.
There you go. Okay.
Oh man. Last little thing for anybody hoping that the Bears would win the Vita Vea sweepstakes. He has signed an extension for 1 year, $30 million down in Tampa Bay.
Oh,
so
wow.
he may still come available next year, but for this year, he is not a thing. That's about all I got for the Bears on the preseason. Let's take a quick look at our rival report. I love that.
Love it. I know.
Love that little thing. So, yeah. This is last week's. I have last week's up here. Well, I did not get this week's uploaded, apparently. That is on me and not on anybody else. But hey, we've got a few things to talk about here. The Packers have an injury with Lucas Van Ness. So now their top two edge rushers are out. Now, I did not catch exactly what that injury is. I believe it's a shoulder injury. Definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, especially when the excuses start rolling in.
Right, that's it. They say nothing concerning with his test right now. He hopes to be back to practicing soon, but they are trying to be careful with it, akin to the Luther Burden injury. One of your big players that you're expecting a lot from gets injured. You want to be mindful of it. You might just shut him down for the whole preseason. I don't think there's a whole lot to go off of there.
No.
So that's about it. They have their next game. I believe it's Friday versus the Broncos.
Okay.
I do not know exactly when it was. I will probably be hate watching it. If both teams could lose, I would love that one.
Like Jordan Love went 3 for 5. I mean, he's only 60%. Come on now. That's
He didn't show me anything in the preseason that made me think anything about him. That's for sure. I tell you what, the things that I noticed, and I got to preface this every time in the preseason. I don't know what the assignments were. I don't know what he's being coached to do. I don't know what the play call was. That said, I watched all 5 of those pass attempts. He stared at his receiver in every one of those.
Like always.
He was late on 3 of them. And the 2 incompletions were on him, not on his receivers. So, and I believe 2 of the 3 were checkdowns. So, checkdowns that he stared at the entire time.
Yeah.
That's the part that kind of I couldn't get over. I think if you watch his eyes, you can beat him. I think that's all you got to do with him. He does not have that, look off like Mahomes or Allen or those kind of guys do. I don't know. Green Bay. Yeah, I've said it for a little while. He is Jay Cutler without the interceptions. Like that is exactly what Jordan Love reminds me of. He's so good that his own fan base will go to die for him, but he's not good enough for any other fan base to take them seriously when they go to die for him.
Yeah, because when it matters most, I was just talking about that today. Jay Cutler had such a great highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, those are 10 passes. There's 30, that he threw interceptions in the goal,
That's
in the
it.
red zone, and
Fucking Rex Grossman has an amazing highlight. Go watch
Yeah.
Rex Grossman highlights. Only the highlights. And you'd think that guy carried the Bears to the Super Bowl.
right.
Like he wasn't just on the team, like he was the reason they were there. Then go watch, anything else that he's done. And you're going to see him fall off that cliff, be completely useless,
Mhm.
and be the guy that he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All said, it's preseason and I'm still hate watching the Packers. So
Yeah.
I'm all
it's
for
fun.
it.
We got to get warmed up with that too.
Vikings. Oh, there it is. Aldo
Okay.
popped in and helped me out here. I'm okay. He got us all hooked up. What did I tell you? Aldo might not be on the air with us, but he's always doing some work behind the scenes to help us out. Vikings, Jamal Adams on injured reserve, out for the season already.
God.
They signed him, and a week later he tears his quad, opposite leg of the one that he tore last time. Absolutely just
Oh, gosh.
brutal
I didn't
injury
see
for
that.
him.
Yeah, hate that. Seriously.
It happened at MetLife Stadium too, which raises the question of, does the NFL need to do something about this? Does the NFLPA need to put something in the next CBA about this to get rid of these turf fields? The players have very vocally said they want natural surfaces. They don't want these turf fields. The numbers show that they're significantly more likely to get injured on these turf fields.
Yeah.
And yet since the 70s, we've been trying to make them happen. And every single year, it's like another star player is down for a long period of time.
I think 50 years now, since the 70s, 50 years is nothing beats natural grass.
That's it.
It's one of those things where you think it should, because with the mud and it gets kind of nasty but there's so many teams that are in dome stadiums now. I mean, and if you can grow the grass the way they have with these covered stadiums, just do it. The money's there.
That's it.
Like, please, the money's there.
D. Starren asked, so the Bears going to turf, at their new stadium. And I would fight adamantly against it. Just because it's a domed stadium doesn't mean it has to be turf. I mean, I'm pretty sure Minnesota still has real grass, even though they're in a dome. I know that Arizona has real grass despite being in a dome.
Yeah, it can be done.
It's totally doable. LA's new stadium, SoFi, that has real grass.
Mm-hmm.
And is a beautiful stadium. I'm pretty sure Allegiant does as well at the Raiders stadium.
They've come a long way since they tried to do it at the Astrodome. It just didn't work.
With the AstroTurf. That's it. I guess SoFi does not have real turf. That's surprising, but I was correct. Allegiant does.
Okay.
Looking for other domed stadiums that do. Actually, surprisingly few. We have State Farm Stadium of the Cardinals, and they have that very impressive retracting field. If you've never seen it, it's actually super fascinating. They developed the technology kind of based on soccer fields in Europe, but also kind of its own unique thing where it's basically on a big stage on wheels. And when games aren't being played, they wheel it outside into the Arizona sun so that it gets natural sunlight, and they grow it and everything outdoors. They care for it. And then they wheel it into the stadium, just on this big platform.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super interesting, actually. Looking at other domes, though, looks like Allegiant is the only dome that has a real natural grass surface. I'm looking at the other teams: Steelers outdoors, Chiefs outdoors, Broncos outdoors, Jaguars outdoors, Miami outdoors, Buffalo outdoors, Browns outdoors, Packers outdoors, Niners outdoors. Eagles outdoors, Ravens outdoors, Commanders outdoors, Buccaneers outdoors, and Bears outdoors. So it pretty much seems like if you want real grass, you've got to be outdoors at this point, which is, I don't know, man. That's not good.
I remember the first time I was on one of these new generation artificial turfs, and the initial thing was like, wow, this is great. I don't see, but I guess there's just enough evidence now that these things just aren't great for athletic competition, I guess.
Yeah. It makes me wonder because, my son is joining the middle school team this year, and they play on the same field from 7th grade through 12th grade. And it's a turf field.
Mm-hmm.
I played on a turf field as well in high school, just for practice. For games, we played on a real field though, but for practice, it was a turf field. And it was so hot. And if you got hit the wrong way and hit the ground the wrong way, it was so painful.
Really?
And those little black pellets, man, that you see, come up.
Yep.
They're in your nose. They're in your ears.
God, I didn't even think of that.
You get hit the wrong way. They're in your pants for months. I mean,
I never even thought of
they're in
that.
your fucking butt crack. Like you can't get rid of them.
I remember when I was covering high school sports, all the schools were just, that was the one thing they wanted. Like they would go to school board meetings and just lobby for turf instead of
takes less care. It's a one-time payment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, very interesting. I feel like I say that at the end of every segment lately, but that one truly does interest me. I'm very curious to see how the NFL moves forward with that, how the players react to it. Jamal Adams, I'm sure, will be very vocal about it. Even if he's no longer in the NFL, I'm sure he'll be a part of the players union representing safety, because I know for a fact he cares about that.
Well, Caleb's mentioned it in his Instagram posts.
He absolutely has.
Yeah.
Yep. The players prefer it. So Vikings do have their second preseason game hosting the Ravens soon. I believe that's a Saturday game as well. And lastly, excuse me, we have the starters playing in Detroit for a significant period of time per Dan Campbell in their second preseason game hosting the Washington Commanders. They will only play 4 quarters out of respect for Jaden Daniels. I don't know that I have any other. I don't know that I have any other jokes about it. But holy shit, what I don't have anything else to really say about the Lions, so I'm just going to dive right into this. But we had 2 major NFL stories break this week, and I know they're not technically a rival, but with the Daniels-Williams controversy going on, it will always be a little bit of a rivalry, the way that Favre and Elway kind of had their rivalry. But what a story that came out from Jaden Daniels. And for those who are not familiar with it, I don't have anything pulled up. So this is just off the cuff, my knowledge of the situation. Jaden Daniels' legal team went after LSU for using the number 5 because Jaden Daniels had kind of a handshake, head nod agreement with the previous coaching staff not to use number 5 for marketing or on players or anything unless it was like directly associated to Jaden Daniels' name. And so LSU now has a new coaching staff. They've brought in, I believe it's Lane Kiffin as their new head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately went and gave the number 5 to their new quarterback. I believe his last name is Ricketts. I don't really pay attention to college sports, but this story was so interesting. It actually had me reading. But yeah, they give the number 5 to another player. Jaden Daniels and his legal team send a cease and desist to LSU saying, do not use my name associated with the number 5. From what I get, he's saying, don't use them together. Like, if you're going to use number 5, don't tie me to it. I'd prefer if you didn't use number 5 at all. But at the very least, as the great Will Smith said, keep my name out your fucking mouth. So, that's about the high and low of it. But then the real egregious part came when a report leaked and there's questions on how true it is that Jaden Daniels wants LSU to give back his Heisman Trophy. And that is insanity to me. I
didn't read that part. What do you mean give back?
That's just it. I don't know exactly. It is absolutely insane.
Isn't that his? I mean,
that's just it. Well, so they issue 2 copies every year. They give one to the athlete and one to the school.
Okay.
So he wanted them to give up there, and there's no, there's no confirmation of this that I've seen. I don't know how accurate it is, but if he actually did that, like what a move. And so for the whole week, there's been all these things clowning on him.
Yeah.
People saying don't use the number 5. Aldo put up a really nice thing here in the chat for us. Daniel's legal team sent a formal cease and desist letter to LSU demanding the school stop using his name, image, and likeness, NIL, for commercial purposes. And a lot of fans were taken aback by this. Some people saying, well, hey, LSU has only produced 3 Heisman winners ever, and 2 of them have their number retired. Why shouldn't Jaden Daniels? I'm like, because he's not that guy. I don't know.
He's only been out of the league out of college 3 years.
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow
Burrow
is one of those Heisman winners who has his number retired at LSU.
He won a national championship, though.
Right. So that's kind of it. Like, I don't know. It's a very interesting story. If you like the drama in the NFL, like, it's a great one. But yes, he's part of this Generation Z that is just full of, I don't even necessarily want to call it entitlement. It's just ignorance to me.
Well, the whole NIL has just changed everything.
It has. It really has.
Because that's really what it is. I mean, because these guys, technically, if you think number 5, you might be thinking Jaden Daniels, but it's not Jaden Daniels. It was like,
well, in this season, it won't be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just that has just changed everything. That the players they're not amateur status in college anymore.
They're not. This is basically a semi-professional league at this point in college. So I sort of get it on the one hand, but on the other hand, it feels like a wild overreach of some kind of power play that has gone massively wrong for him and his camp, to the point where every time Jaden Daniels scrambles out of the pocket, they're afraid his lawyers are going to send a cease and desist to the opposing defense for unauthorized use of his image and likeness.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, normally I get 5 packs from the grocery store, the casual 6-pack and drink one on the way home.
Right.
We've been reduced to 4 packs lately.
Yeah, you gotta drink 2 of them on the way home.
I gotta drink 2 of them on the way home now. Another point. I believe they played Miami last weekend. I don't remember who they played in preseason, but the team that they played in preseason featured their player wearing number 5 in the artwork for the game poster. It's reached the government, believe it or not, where the National Park Service put out a post last week that said it's 4 days until National Parks Week. We would have posted this 1 day sooner, but we felt it was disrespectful.
Gosh.
It's just going crazy. D. Starin says the new guy won't go out there unless he gets number 5. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think he went to the coaching staff when he got to LSU, asked for number 5. They said, hey, we've kind of got this handshake deal with Jaden that we're not going to do that. And then this new coaching staff got there, and before Jaden Daniels could talk to them, this quarterback went and said, hey, I want to get number 5. And they said, okay, why not?
Yeah.
I do think the guy kind of, went through some less than stand-up ways to get the number, but he didn't necessarily do anything wrong. He just wanted a number, and he saw a way to get it. And as, I don't know, Did you guys ever do some like weird, selfish, entitled, fucked up shit when you were like 19, 20 years old? Because
Probably.
I can kind of see it when you put yourself in the perspective of this guy's like borderline a teenager.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of start to understand it a little bit from his perspective, at least.
And
like, oh shit, I can probably get my number now.
And you got to think that he doesn't necessarily like take Jaden Daniels. I bet he didn't come up with that idea on his own. I bet his legal team saw something, an avenue, and said, "Hey, this is going on. You should do this, and this is what we're." And he's going along with it. So I don't necessarily think that Jaden Daniels is out there looking. He's not writing the letters, the cease and desist letters. So he's not putting the language in there. I doubt, but he could be. But
that's it.
Yeah, it's all the lawyers. What was that in Back to the Future Part 2? And said the legal system's gotten so much more efficient now that we've abolished all the lawyers. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, our second big story that came out was this fake Indianapolis or Indiana Bears story. I don't know if you saw this, but
yeah.
For lack of a better word, a wannabe analyst. Somebody, I don't want to name names. You guys can go find all this for yourself if you want to find out who names are. Somebody who has loosely used the term analyst to describe themselves, but others would not call an analyst, attempted to break a story last week that the Bears would be moving to Indiana, Hammond specifically, and changing their name to something involving Indiana. And it became this big thing. And in my opinion, anybody with two brain cells to rub together, quickly realized like, oh, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
But a lot of people ran with it. It gained a whole lot of traction to the point where it was actually addressed. And turns out this gentleman, unfortunately, probably threw away all credibility he had for ever getting a scoop in the future because of this, because there is a 0% chance that the Bears will ever be changing the name from the Chicago Bears, regardless of where they're located. George McCaskey confirmed it himself. But it did lead to a pretty funny little fallout where our buddy Cream Sleeve managed to get this pretty sweet video of the Bears' potential new stadium site.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Last I saw, this had garnered over 5 million views on Twitter. Cream Sleeve took this view supposedly from his seats at Soldier Field of the new Bears stadium site. That is Hammond, Indiana. Mike North with the statement, "Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. Love the smell of molten steel and gasoline in the morning." I don't think anybody intended for that to become quite the indictment that it was. But if anybody was not excited for the Bears stadium plans, I think this absolutely quashes anybody who is excited about Indiana.
Yeah, it was definitely not good for Hammond. But I still, at some point, it's going to get built in Arlington Heights.
I completely agree. Bear Necessities 85 reminds us Goodell went to Illinois this week to talk to lawmakers. The commissioner's getting involved at this point.
Yeah. And now he sees how inept Illinois politics can be, too.
That's just it.
It's horrible. But
look, the Bears are starting this process well in advance. The current lease still runs through 2033. They have plenty of time to still get this done. I would say you have 3 more years probably before this starts becoming urgent and pressing. It's why they started on it as early as they did. I frankly just wish they would shut the hell up about it and start working behind the scenes. We don't need transparency in every part of the business.
Here's the thing. Cleveland is going to have their second stadium built in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Did you see? That was a pretty sweet looking model that they've got there. It's going to be for 2027.
Wow. No, I haven't seen anything about it yet. I saw the site that they're proposing it on, and it's still pretty cool. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I kind of forget that Cleveland also has a pretty sweet lakefront stadium because, there's no nice skyline behind them.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, the best thing Cleveland's got going for it is it's not Detroit. So, but still, you know, I guess now they've got two good things going for them with the fact that they can get shit done.
Yeah, they're going to get a stadium in 2 years, and that's going to be the second one. You know?
Insane.
And who's the other team that's going to have a Super Bowl in a couple of years? But they don't have
that doesn't have the stadium finished yet.
But
yeah,
they're going to have the 2030 Super Bowl. You know, and,
yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, but
yeah. And here we are twiddling our thumbs and talking about tax certainty and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's all good. I have confidence that it is going to happen. I do wonder if Northwest Indiana is an actual destination or not. You know, PZ seems to think that it's not. A lot of people in the chat, you know, mentioning just deal with the lawmakers, excuse me, in some less than legal ways and just, you know, get it done. I think the Bears want to try to do this the right way, though. And that's why they're going about it like this. I think, you know, I do think it's a reasonable chance they end up in Hammond. But I also think that it's more likely still that they end up in Arlington Heights. And the longer that this draws out and the Bears don't sell that property, the more I think that they are going to be there. Because why would they still own the property if their sole site was Hammond, Indiana?
Yeah. I think, if you see anything and as far as real estate transactions go in Arlington Heights, then start thinking about Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I'm ready to move off of current events in football. I know we don't have a proper food segment tonight, but did you have anything at Wrigley today?
Well, I had not at Wrigley, but my pregame lunch was at Wrigleyville Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious. And then if you haven't been there, and their fries were outstanding. But yeah, they got a good little shop over there. It's on Clark Street, just down about a block from the stadium. And then afterwards, I was with my daughter's boyfriend who was at the game, and I took him to Byron's, which is right up there at Irving Park in Sheffield, for some hot dogs again. But Byron's is one of my favorites. It's just a classic spot that's been there forever, and they do a great job. They do great hamburgers if you're not in the mood for a hot dog. They used to be home of the Dogzilla, the 1 pound hot dog, but I don't think they have that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think I did a video on that like 2 years ago. But yeah, so that was my eating experience today. It was, it's baseball, so I'm having hot dogs and loved it. But yeah, sorry I didn't have a video this week. I for whatever reason, I thought the game was at night. And it wasn't until my friend Colin, who had the tickets, texted me yesterday, said, "What are your plans?" I said, "Well, I'm going to probably hit the 3 o'clock train and be down in the area about 4:30. He goes, "It's a 1:20 game." Like, oh, well, scratch that, because I did. I just had it in my head that it was a night game, but no worries. It was a great, beautiful, sunny 1:20 start at Wrigley Field. It was a lot of fun.
I love that, man. I love that. I've been to the Crosstown Series myself on the South Side. It is an awesome experience. I was fortunate a few years ago. Our good friend of the Barroom, co-host with Mike North on Somebody Big Just Died, Joe Mandel, offered me a ticket several years ago when we were doing our White Sox podcast together. And I said, screw it. It's been a little while. I need to go out there. So went out there, went to the Crosstown Series with him. My cousin had tickets for the next day, so I actually went to games 2 days in a row out there. It was absolutely awesome. Got to tailgate out in the South Lot with all the guys. I got to hit up 35th Street Red Hots. We went by Grandstand. Watched a game from the patio, which was awesome.
Nice.
I don't even think I went to my seats that day. And this was 2021, so it was the post-COVID year where they were still kind of like, people in the 100s need to stay in the 100s and 200s and 300s and 500s and so on. And they try to kind of segregate the whole stadium and make sure that people weren't overcrossing too much and everything. And
were you at the 17-13 game?
No, that was the one game of the series I missed.
Okay, that was the one game I was at.
Yeah, I went to the other
5
2
hours
games of that
long.
series. Yes, that was awesome. I was on an airplane while that game was going, actually. But yeah, so I went to that one. I went to the other 2 rather. It was a blast. Lance Lynn got shelled. The game that I went with Joe. Worst game of his season. It was like far and away the worst game. And it's funny too, because the Sox made the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
Joe went to something that year and they lost like all of them. We're like, Joe, stop going to the games. He's like, it can't happen every time. And we're like, but it can.
It is.
It was hilarious. So yeah, it was absolutely awesome. I distinctly remember though, like I went down to that patio. I found that patio because like I've always seen it in the games and everything. I was like, man, it'd be so cool to watch a game there. And the guys that we were with, it was my cousin's friends and everything. He goes, well, hey man, we can just like go down there. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, there's a whole bar under there. Like you just go down there, get a beer. Nobody makes you leave. I'm like, why are we even thinking about going to our seats right now? That's where we should be going. So we walk down there, we get the beers. We watch the whole game from right there. The only thing is you can't sit in the seats there. People pay good money for those seats.
Yeah.
So you got to like stand awkwardly behind them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't give a shit. It was so cool. That was an elite experience. One of the best experiences of my life is watching a game. I mean, you're literally standing on field level and you're about 6 feet away from the field. It is the most surreal experience to just be like, I might as well be the right fielder right now.
Right.
And yeah,
give me a glove.
I remember I got the beer for ball games. I don't even remember who made it, but it was such a easy drinker. And it was such a nice thing for a very hot day. So, and it was such a simple design on the can. I remember that too. It was a nice little like hand-drawn thing. So, but I bring up the beer specifically because while I don't have a cocktail tonight, it's my favorite time of the year. I said it earlier. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Boys, that's just not because it's football season. It's fall beer season.
Oh, you are a Oktoberfest?
Oktoberfest is the best time of the year. Oktoberfest is my favorite beer season.
Okay.
And I know I'm going to get some hate for this one. I enjoy the occasional pumpkin beer.
I've never had one.
Oh, man. We've got this really enjoyable one out here. It's less of a pumpkin beer, in my opinion. And it's more of like a nutmeg, like ginger kind of beer.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's called Night Owl from Elysian, which is one of the local breweries in Omaha. No, Elysian is not. Elysian is in Seattle, now that I think about it. So Elysian's a craft brewery out of Seattle. If you've heard of Space Dust, that's probably their most popular beer. It's an IPA, very popular year round. But again, they make this Night Owl, which is, again, sort of a nutmeggy, gingery, gingerbread kind of flavor beer. Tastes more like gingerbread than pumpkin to me, which is, I think, why I like it so much. But man, the occasional pumpkin beer goes really well. I was at the grocery store yesterday, had no intention of buying beer, and I'm walking past it after picking up my wife some ice cream because she wanted something sweet. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to get me a treat too, because they had the Sam Adams like fall 4-pack sitting right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, absolutely my favorite time of year as a beer drinker. Highly recommend the Elysian Night Owl. I don't have any with me, but this was a good jumping off point. I have the Sam Adams Jacko, which is okay as far as pumpkin beers go. It's not my favorite, but it's drinkable.
Okay.
So
I've never had a pumpkin one. Lots of Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah. If you like darker, sweeter kind of beers, it's a good flavor.
Okay.
Again, like I say, the good ones have sort of a gingerbread flavor to them.
Gotcha. As opposed to pumpkin. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't need to spend too horribly much time on all that. Something that goes wonderful with drinking beer, much like baseball, is fantasy football.
Fantasy.
Are you a fantasy player, Fitz?
I have not played since 2013. and I won the league that year, and it wore me out. And I just said I'd never do it again.
Go out on top.
I won the league on the last play of the year. So, and it was like,
that's awesome. What a story, though.
Yeah, I would have to go back and see exactly how it was done, and I could retell it at another time. But it was the last. It was a freak too. It was in San Francisco, and some I needed some defensive points, and it was at the end of the game, and there was a fumble return for a touchdown. And
that's crazy.
That never should have happened.
Oh, 2013 was that? No, it's not the game I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Yeah, I think it was 20. I go back, but yeah, but that was my last hurrah with it because it just took too much out of me. I said no more.
Well, I believe we're still going to be doing our fantasy football goon show here on the Barroom this year, so tune into that on Sundays.
We should have it. I like following leagues and things, but
excuse me, my throat's a little dry tonight, but we should have a live draft coming up if that's happening this year. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so I'll just say there's a chance it's still happening. Keep an eye on the Barroom Twitter, my Twitter, anything associated with us, and if that's going to happen, we'll get the news out to you. In the meantime, I thought it'd be fun to highlight a little bit here on this show each week. You know, we've got our consensus top 10, and there's no Bears in this, but something I wanted to point out is you've got 4 running backs in your top 10 and 6 wide receivers. The thing is, the fall off at running back is much harsher than the fall off at receiver after this. And I've just received confirmation in the chat room from Mr. Aldo Gandia himself. Fantasy Football Goon will be returning in September. I do know that I'm probably going to have some role in that show this year. We have yet to discuss exactly what that will be, as I'm normally sort of a fill-in member from time to time. But Joe Mandel, I believe Tooch is still a part of that. Adam Sham. Adam is a fantasy savant as far as I'm concerned. I always listen to Adam's advice when it comes to fantasy, which is really hard for him because we play in a league together. I actually beat him in fantasy baseball in our matchup a few weeks ago, and it was the highlight of my season. So I love listening to what Adam's got to say about this, because he does a really good job of taking emotion out of it, which as a fan is hard to do. And he looks at things very analytically. He does a great job. So tune into Fantasy Football Goon. We'll be giving you all of the highlights that we can. Again, Adam is truly the star of the show. So make sure that you're asking him for all the advice that you can. I never pass up an opportunity to sing his praises when it comes to fantasy sports.
Sounds good.
So as our Draft Sharks board here shows, thank you to Draft Sharks for sharing this list for us to also share. But Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson at 1 and 2 seems kind of like a no-brainer. And then your other running backs are Christian McCaffrey at 6, which I think is highly underrated for him. Wink, wink. I do think he's a top 5 pick for sure. Probably a top 3 pick in all reality. And Jonathan Taylor at 8, which I think is right around where he belongs. Anybody jump out on this list to you, Fitz? Anybody you would expect to see here who you don't?
I was always under the impression that running, and I don't know enough about it, but anymore, but like running backs were not as valuable anymore. And I'm surprised not to see one quarterback on there at all.
Yeah. And at this point in time, PPR is pretty much the standard, points per reception. And so that drives wide receivers value up quite a bit.
Yeah.
As well as makes these dual threat running backs a lot more valuable.
I see. Okay.
And so that's what makes these 4 guys in particular incredibly valuable. And it drives down the value on a lot of guys in the league as well, because a lot more teams are going to like a Bears style, running back by committee sort of approach. Cincinnati, almost entirely running back by committee. Chase Brown, down this year, guys. Excuse me. And so I look at this and you think about these players that are listed here, all high target, all high reception, all high touch kind of guys. Puka Nacua is probably the one guy on this list I'm not super high on. And for those who are on the audio version, our list is Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua at 4, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Christian McCaffrey at 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. That is your top 10. I got to say, it's really hard to be high on Justin Jefferson with his quarterback situation as well. So we'll definitely have more insight on this at a future date. But yeah.
Why wouldn't a quarterback? Where do the quarterbacks have value then? If it's
quarterbacks, your elite quarterbacks tend to start having value more in the 3rd round, 4th round. But the main thing about a quarterback is they are guaranteed to touch the ball on every play. And this is general fantasy advice for anybody out there who might be unfamiliar. But quarterbacks tend to go later because you can pick up Jordan Love, a league average quarterback, and he will be totally acceptable. You cannot necessarily pick up, say, Najee Harris, a league average running back, and be as well off as you would with a league average quarterback.
I see.
Because of the way the point distribution goes.
When I was playing, like, you know, but I was really big into it, like 2009, 2010. Everybody was trying to get Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning. Those were like the number one. So
well, think about the stats they were putting up at that point in time. You know, there were years where, you know, Pat Mahomes was going that high as well in recent memory. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen will probably go in the 2nd or 3rd round in a lot of drafts because as quarterbacks, they still provide that. But the part that's become more apparent in fantasy football in recent years is relative value, right? Okay. Your most valuable running back is more valuable than your most valuable tight end, for example, because your most valuable running back is harder to come by.
I see. Okay.
So it's a combination of total expected points and scarcity at the position.
Gotcha. Okay.
So super interesting how it all works out. I did request this, and Aldo did a fantastic job putting this together. Some of the Bears' top fantasy players this year. You've got Caleb Williams as the number 11 quarterback, which is kind of surprising he's that low to me because I believe he finished as like QB 8 last year or something like that. Pretty decent. I will definitely be running him on any team I can get him on, simply because I love taking the Bears quarterback and then making fun of everybody when I beat them with the Bears quarterback. I ran with Justin Fields for 3 straight years.
Oh, God.
I had Justin Fields as my backup last year at the beginning of the season, expecting him to do something. No, I take that back. That was 2 years ago when he was in Pittsburgh. We have DeAndre Swift rated as the 21 overall running back and Kyle Monangai as the 36th overall running back. So Kyle Monangai is still pretty high up there for a guy who's not a starter. But DeAndre Swift, I think, if he's truly your 21st running back off the board, that is incredible value in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of 20 guys I would take over him.
Exactly. That's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, we've got Roma Dunze at 24 and Luther Burden at 28. I think that Burden is a bargain there. Mm-hmm. I think that Odunze is right about where he belongs. And tight ends, you've got Colston Loveland, number 3. He will likely be the first tight end off the board in several leagues.
Yeah.
The second, maybe behind Brock Bowers. And if he is tight end number 3, it's because Trey McBride and Brock Bowers have gone ahead of him. This is per ESPN Fantasy Football. I've seen Colston Loveland as low as like 5 or 6 from people who, for whatever reason, seem to think that Tucker Kraft is good. I don't understand that one. Tucker Kraft is coming off an injury. He frankly underperformed in the first place. I personally stay way the hell away from him. He will get high volume though because Green Bay has no wide receivers. So you know, it's tough. It's a balancing act in football. You know, my strategy for football every year is don't take the don't take the Packers at any position. There is an equivalent player available at every single position in the league. There is not a single position in the NFL where if you take a Packers player, they cannot be replaced with another player. So as a Bears fan in fantasy football, just don't take a Packer. You can find an equivalent player on another team.
I think you're right.
Well, hey, draft order traditions. I just wanted to touch on this one because I know a lot of people do a lot of different things. We do ours really randomly. I think Joe just sets up like a random number generator and it gives us a list. I've seen some other really interesting ones. There was a cool one floating around Twitter today. DJ Moore actually filled out somebody's draft order. It was like a fan at practice held up a sign that said, "Will any player please pick our fantasy draft order?" And DJ Moore walks up, takes out a Sharpie, and just randomly assigns numbers 1 through 12 to every name on it.
Yeah.
It's great. Adam, from Fantasy Football Goon, does the Old Man Olympics is what they call it. They have a series of athletic events that they all compete in to determine who gets the top pick, who gets the lowest pick, so on and so forth. My advice to you is if you're in any sort of competition, aim to be about middle of the pack. Over the last few years, the draft order slot that seems to win the most fantasy leagues usually drafts in a 12-man league between 7 and 10, and in a 10-man league between 6 and 8.
Interesting.
So, just a fun little fact for you. All right. Well, hey, I think that about wraps up our sports talk for the night. I have an album review for you guys.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We like to talk more than just sports here at the Barroom. And before I get too deep into this, I do want to throw it out there. Please follow us on X at Bear Their Souls, X, the site formerly known as Twitter. That is our handle Bear Their Souls. Souls is spelled with a Z. You can remember it because my name is Zim. Danikin, not able to be with us tonight, feeling a little under the weather. Danikin, I hope you get well enough to be with us next week. And if not, man, well, I really hope you get it checked out and get better soon.
Yeah, 2 weeks, man. That'd be tough.
That would be tough. So it sounds like it's just a one-night thing, though. I really hope that he is feeling better now and later. But yeah, I have not a whole lot of other plugs for right now, other than Monsters of the Barroom aired its first show last week. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it, there's some really interesting points on there, some really nice stuff from fans of the Barroom who were given an opportunity by the Podfather Aldo Gandia to be a part of that show. There were prizes given away. There was lots of good Bears discussion had. They went on for about 2 hours. If you haven't given it a listen, it's worth a listen, honestly. Good Bears content to keep you going throughout your week. And with that, I'm going to pull up this little album review that I had. I kind of tried to go for some low-hanging fruit this time by looking up Rolling Stone's greatest albums of all time. They put this list together back in 2023, so just about 3 years ago. And their number one pick was Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. It's about a 35-minute album from 1971. It says it's a Motown album, but it's really a lot different than what you would expect when you hear Motown. It's a lot darker. It's a lot heavier. It's a lot more experimental, but it definitely has your Motown grooves. It's got some good jazz beats mixed in with it. And something I found super interesting with this album is the entire thing was composed in the span of about a month. Marvin Gaye was given the song What's Going On. What's Going On was not actually written by Marvin Gaye. It was written, oh man, I've lost it off the top of my head. Obie Benson, a member of the Four Tops, began writing this song. And it's sort of a protest song about police brutality and violence for anti-war protesters during Vietnam. And as I'm listening to it, it just makes me think about how this has continued, not just from Vietnam, but in almost every sort of conflict or escalation that we've had as a nation, where people gain this restlessness and this conflict begins to arise within, and it makes you question the conflict happening outside of us as well. And, without getting too political, I think that's a really good way to think about it. The way that unrest outside of us creates more unrest within us. And that's something that I think this album really touches on. And it touches on it from a lot of different angles, you know, from the person within the conflict and experiencing the conflict, from the brother seeing, you know, the person next to him experience it, from the mother seeing the person she raised experience it, and from the child seeing the person raising them going through it. And it's really interesting, all the different perspectives that it gives, all of the different feelings that it can invoke, while being this kind of experimental album where it has this really clear-cut musical style, and yet it's not really like a musical style you've heard up to that point, where it's got these long drawn-out melodic strings with this Motown bass line rhythmically pumping behind it, and Marvin Gaye with these vocals that at times are more like poetry, and at other times are not lyrics at all, but just an extension of the instruments on these tracks. Obviously, this was well before I was born. This is 22 years before I was born. So I think it speaks a lot that it still resonated with me, despite the fact that it's a 55-year-old album now. For those who don't know Marvin Gaye, first of all, get out from under the rock that you've been living under. Second of all, you would know him from Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And, oh my God, he had that other really big song that I'm now completely blanking on.
Let's get it on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Through the Grapevine. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Through the Grapevine.
Through the Grapevine might actually be in this era just as well known as Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Now, again, really surprised to see that this was Rolling Stone's greatest album of all time. Rounding out their top 5 was the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, Joni Mitchell's Blue, Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, and the Beatles' Abbey Road. Now, one thing that definitely rang true with me is this list was clearly put together by somebody who's probably a little bit older, considering the top 5 albums are all 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's a problem with that. Just something that I observed. And yeah, I regardless of any of that, really excellent album with a really interesting history behind it. If I had to pick one song outside of the title track, What's Going On, that really stuck with me, it was probably Save the Children. It just really changed up the album in a good way that kind of got your attention back after a few songs came through. I know it's a little bit of a longer song, but it really, I don't know. It's a nice change of pace right in the middle of the album. Fitz, are you familiar with this album? Have you listened recently or
not recently? But it's like, What's Going On could carry the whole thing. Mercy, Mercy Me's classic. I love that song. Yeah, it's just there was. I guess I can't say enough of current music and albums per se, but it seemed like there was more of a strategy when putting albums together at this time, and that's why you know there was purpose to the songs that were on them. They weren't so random. We don't. I don't know if we've lost anything musically because I don't know how albums are necessarily put together anymore because of just the way music is presented to us. We've got so much access to it so quickly now. But yeah, there was, and I think that's probably why the top 5 are older, just because there was just more to actually putting an album together, and the stories and everything kind of flowed in a certain way.
Well, another big part of it is a lot of albums at that point in time were written quickly and all at the same time. And it created a lot of, these concept albums, which is part of, I think, a big reason why Pet Sounds is at number 2, because it was the first concept album. But, What's Going On? Concept album. Pet Sounds, concept album. Blue. Honestly, I'm not familiar enough with Joni Mitchell to know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
another one I should listen to in the future. Songs in the Key of Life. I don't know if it's a true concept album, but I think it could be interpreted as one. Absolutely. And then Abbey Road, maybe not necessarily a true concept album, but a series of songs that were all written stylistically similarly and in a short span. So, you know, super interesting. And yeah, you know, to continue some of the conversation that's happening in the chat, Songs on What's Going On, Aldo mentions this. The Songs on What's Going On was the first album that mixed one track into another. I'm not sure if that's true or not. It sounds totally believable. I did notice that on this album. I thought it was very interesting considering the age of the album. And yeah, it's actually noticeable and a really cool thing. And I love when albums do that. Let's see. PZ mentions that Rolling Stone rankings are like PFF rankings, and I would actually completely agree with that. Sure, somebody somewhere put them together and spent a lot of time on it, but who knows who and who knows why. And then Cliff brings up a little question here. Well, first, he mentions songs in the 70s were mostly about love and songs now are about hate. Well, I don't necessarily think that's entirely true. I can see where that comes from because I found myself looking for songs that, or for bands that sing about more than just the same thing all the time. And it's why, you know, the band that I showed the album for several weeks ago, The Wonder Years, has resonated with me so much is because they've grown and evolved with time. And I understand that Cliff is sort of generalizing with this. But I think we all feel this way at a certain point in our lives where we start looking harder for things because we don't agree with what's being presented to us. And so again, that's why I dig into bands like The Wonder Years, because they don't just sing about, you know, particularly in the music that I like, they don't just sing about girls and how they're heartbroken and how she's a bitch and how, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And no, they're singing about, you know, my friend died and I don't know how to handle this. And I really hope that it's okay that I'm so vulnerable right now. Or they sing about, you know, I just had a child and I'm scared to hell about what I'm doing here, but I know that I want to do the best job that I can. And, you know, these real life things. And then Cliff also brought up a good point about, you know, how do bands make this money now without album sales, without CD sales? They've got to go on tour and charge us out the ass for tickets. And unfortunately, they don't have to charge us out the ass for tickets. Their labels have to charge us out the ass for tickets because they have to cover all of the costs in addition to Ticketmaster now dipping their fingers into everything and ruining the experience for everyone. Because I can tell you for a fact, I can still find a show probably this weekend for $20. You've just never heard of any of the bands on it, and it might not be very good. So that is what I have to say about this album at this point in time. My little... What's that? $35 for a ticket?
No, all those Wonder Years.
Oh.
That he mentions that, and that show was on. I mean, I was in 7th grade when he was in 7th grade. The show went through high school with me, and that's why I love that show so much, because it was just it was like I was growing up with Fred Savage's character.
Yeah,
and I did post today that somebody posted the video when he hosted Saturday Night Live and introduced Technotronic.
Yes.
And I did one of those. I'm going to tell my grandkids that I introduced Technotronic on Saturday Night Live. So, but yeah, that show was that meant a lot to me. You know, it had a great impact on my life growing up as a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting that we've gotten to this point where I don't know. I was going to say it's like we've run out of band names and people have to name themselves after old
Yeah.
TV shows and whatnot, but that's been going on since the dawn of
Yeah.
time. You know, even just looking through this list, I'm seeing, you know, references to everything, and these are all older artists and everything. So, yes, lastly, to top off our music segment, rest in peace, Frank Beard, drummer of legendary band ZZ Top, the one beardless member of the band. Hell of a drummer, practically invented a new style of drumming with the things that he did to help fill up a 3-piece room, influenced a whole number of other drummers from the generation, as well as further. Big loss for the music community. He was a very talented man. There's now one remaining living member of ZZ Top, and somehow the Rolling Stones are still alive.
Right.
I don't get it, man. They made some kind of deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk about, oh my God, and I'm blanking on his name. Robert Johnson making his deal with the devil.
Right.
You know, Robert Johnson might have made a deal with the devil, but that devil, you know, he called up the Rolling Stones about 20 years later.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, hey, like I said, that's going to wrap up our music section. If anybody has albums to recommend to me, please send them my way. If you have any live performances in the Midwest region, I don't know how to put it. Omaha, Lincoln, Des Moines, Kansas City, send them my way. I'm willing to go explore, find some new music. Those are all within a reasonable distance, I suppose. Might even be able to capture some photographs and share those live. And otherwise, I'll probably start writing some new music here for this season pretty soon. I really loved the preseason week 2 song I wrote last year. It still gets stuck in my head all the time, but unfortunately it was a little, how do I put it? Not so evergreen, you know, a little more time sensitive than the one I shared last week. So, well, hey, we're just about done here. Fitz, do you have any pop culture things you've been watching, anything lately that you'd like to share?
So Spider-Man came out, and I kept hearing, I didn't see the new one. In fact, I'd never watched any of the Spider-Man movies. So I went back and I started back to 2002 with Tobey Maguire, and I've watched the first 2, and I'm watching them and I'm enjoying them, going, why didn't I watch these when they came out? Well, I had newborns at the time and just completely missed that whole genre of superhero movies. And so, but I'm getting back into it. So I've watched the first 2 and looking forward to the next ones.
Great starting point. Those first 2 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies are wonderful movies. They kickstarted the entire genre. You know, I mean, realistically, Iron Man started the entire Avengers universe. So, you know, hey, if you've never seen them, they're worth a watch up to about like Avengers Endgame. After that, none of them make any sense. And I don't think you necessarily need to have seen all of them. It's just the Marvel movies in general.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
You know, yeah. I will say, if you watch all 3 of the separate Spider-Man franchises, then this newest franchise, you know, it gets a lot more interesting, and it makes it a little more fun too.
Okay.
So the Andrew Garfield films are a little forgettable, but they were enjoyable in their time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna plow through them. So
yeah. Well, hey, I've actually been reading a little bit. One of my favorite authors from when I was younger has branched off from fiction and has begun writing science fiction. So this is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini.
Okay.
A science fiction novel. I haven't gotten too deep into it, but so far giving me lots of vibes of like The Martian and Project Hail Mary, which both started out as books before being major hit movies. It's maybe, you know, like a B film compared to those, you know, AAA titles, but there are plenty of solid gems in the B film industry. That, you know, these are some, you know, Christopher Paolini in general has always stuck with me. Some previous books that he's written in the fantasy genre include Aragon, which is a very popular young adult novel. So,
Okay.
That's about all I got for tonight, though. So we have just about hit time. So I'm going to go ahead and call it, unless you have any last thoughts or shout outs that you'd like to give to us, Fitz.
I'm going to shout out. I didn't have a video this week, but next week, a little something different. Our guest is going to be Julie Swyka from Chicago sports radio fame. And she does home cooking videos right now. And we're going to do a little collab this weekend. And
excellent.
And so that should be fun. So look forward to that. It's something I've never done, something she's never done. And so hopefully we can put something together that you enjoy, and you'll be first ones to see it next Wednesday. So tune in.
Love that, man. It sounds super interesting. So yeah, looking forward to that, both the collaboration and the guests next week. Yeah,
Julie's great. Julie's great. She's got a lot of good stories. She's a pioneer in the just Chicago sports radio history. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, yeah. So definitely something to look forward to next week. Please join us right here, same time, same channel. We're always here. Hopefully Danica will be back with us as well. Guys, I don't really have a whole lot of shout outs, so I'm just going to go ahead and say, hug your family, kiss your wife, just spread love, man. Listening to some Marvin Gaye, I got to say, spread some love.
Definitely.
That's it. Guys, it's been a great show. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat room. Cliff, PZ, D. Starin, Mailman, Jack. Who else am I missing that was out there? Tony, Bear Necessities, Aldo Gandia. Again, we could not do this show without him. Thank you so much. Guys, if I forgot to, Mikey in the chat. That's, I think, about the only person I missed here. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here with us every single week. We will continue to do this all year long. Hey, keep an eye out around our X Twitter profile, everything. We'll be hosting some spaces on game days for you to talk with us directly about the team, about the game, about whatever. Maybe we'll just have some therapy sessions if we need to. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But like I say, that's going to do it for us this week. Everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Go Bears. Let's kick some Bengal ass. And if there's any big breaking news, you can always look to the Barroom. We'll have you covered. Have a great night, guys.
There's a party over here and a party